Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Western Alliance Era 1 tank destroyer, the Conway. Now this is the tank that follows on from the Charioteer, just like it does in World War II. It follows on from the Charioteer in Cold War. And it's definitely got some different stuff to it than the Conway in World War II, because naturally it doesn't have the big gun that the Conway can get in World War II. It has this 120mm gun. But it does have, like I say, some differences. It's got 279 pen on its AP for one, and 331 on its APCR for number two. With the 220 Hesh pen is filthy, by the way, for 515 alpha. It's really good to abuse. Just like it is on the Charioteer to have the Hesh, you want to be abusing this Hesh if you can. But you have to be making sure that you use it in the right target. So you can see, like, with this here, we've loaded the Hesh, went for the side of the turret, didn't hit it, ended up just not penning the T-44. But if we'd had a 4005 in front of us, or like another Conway in front of us, and we had the hull, etc. that we could shoot, you just load the Hesh and have a field day. Because the when you've got the reload that we have, and you've got the Alpha, it hits hard, and it hits pretty consistently as well, which is nice. It also goes way quicker than the World War II Conway as well. It goes at nearly 60 kilometers an hour when you get it fully upgraded. You have to slog through the stock grind to get it up to that 59 kilometers an hour, because I think it's like 48 or less than that when it's stock. But for the most part, it's pretty damn mobile, and that is definitely a very nice thing about the tank. Other than that, the gun is just as accurate. Its aim time's pretty decent. It's a pretty solid tank destroyer in Era 1. It really, really is. I have a problem with it, though, and that is that the Charioteer is just... I found the Charioteer to be so much more fun, and just generally so much better. There's the Hesh use, by the way. Yeah, I just found the Charioteer to be so much fun and so much better at what the Conway does, that when I moved on from the Charioteer, and I do have another video to release on the Charioteer at some stage, that I've been playing this tank, and I've just been disappointed. Like I say, it's not to say that this is a bad tank, because it's not. It's a pretty damn solid tank destroyer in Era 1. But it's just... I just feel disappointed in it because of the Charioteer. Because the Charioteer has, you know, pretty much the same or similar mobility, but it's a bit quicker to get going. It's a much smaller frame, so it's a lot easier to keep concealed. It has camo that is better than the Conway, but by about 20 meters of still concealment, because you get that down to 122. I think it is on the Charioteer, whereas on this it's 142. I think it is around those numbers anyway. You can get it down to with a camo net and stuff, which means this tank is still damn stealthy, as you're seeing in this replay so far. But yeah, like I say, it's just I just feel like a little bit of disappointment in it compared to the Charioteer, and the Charioteer gun handling feels a little bit nicer as well, and that's down to the fact that it has that 1400 meters a second on the shell velocity on its standard APCR on the Charioteer, whereas this tank is AP on its standard round, and yeah, it's only got 1000 meters a second, which is okay. It's not bad. It's not like 600 meters a second, right? Like, I think the Hesh is about that. The Hesh is 778 meters a second, so it's something you've got to be very careful of at shooting at distance. It's probably best not to shoot it at distance. But shooting at distance is where the Conway starts to struggle a little bit for tanks that are moving, whereas the Charioteer never struggled with that. And that's something you're going to see in both these replays, because this first replay is firing full standard. It's exactly what I would recommend to you to do, because you don't need the premium rounds at all in Era 1, sorry, not Era 2. And then the second replay is full gold. Full gold to sort of illustrate the point that, yeah, the shell velocity at 1400 meters a second is something that is absolutely fabulous on those premium rounds, and it's something you desperately miss when you are firing the standard on the Conway, and it's something that you have to really readjust to when you move from the Charioteer to the Conway, because that shell velocity on the Charioteer is absolutely lovely. And then you find that this gun just feels that little bit derpier, and even though it's supremely accurate, it just likes to miss the odd shot here and there. You go, really? Oh, okay. Right, it's that kind of thing, really, for the Conway. And that's why, while it is an absolutely solid tank destroyer, and I'm never going to take that away from it, I feel extremely disappointed playing it compared to the Charioteer. And, yeah, I don't enjoy it nearly as much as I did the Charioteer. The Charioteer was a barrel of laughs. It was a hell of a lot of fun. But that is what it is. The poor old Conway will just live forever in the Charioteer's shadow. And then the 4005 after it too. right? It's just one of those things. It's a really good tank destroyer, pretty damn well balanced, stuck in the middle of a tank that is generally just as good, if not better, and then a tank on the other end, which is just absolutely nutty in Era 1, right? But, hey, that's the Conway, unfortunately, for itself. So in terms of a crew on the Conway, it's pretty much the same as the Charioteer, although I might change the one odd perk here and there on it, and you'll see that when it pops up on the old Screenicus. And that is Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, and Silent Driving. Now, I run those 3 camo perks because I naturally want to make my camo as good as humanly possible, and having a 120mm gun, your camo is really quite affected by firing, so I want to reduce that with a muffled shot. The silent driving helps me keep that camo while I'm on the move, which is glorious, and the camo, naturally, I want to have the camo. But like I say, the gun can be a little bit troll at times and really annoying because it does bloom out quite a lot on turning the turret and stuff like that, which is where Snapshot might be where I'd say take Snapshot over muffled shot and keep the silent driving and camouflage expertise. Or, if you really don't care about view range whatsoever in Cold War because you can see everything, get rid of situational awareness and take Snapshot. But I would say keep situational awareness because it is nice just to have it to be able to try and spot tanks for yourself, and then you really don't have to bother with stuff like optics and stuff like that. Because I do run a rammer, so I think it's called the Advanced Loader, the Advanced Reload, which is the ammo swapper, and I run the camo net. A camo net, but to make this camo absolutely dirty, because that is what makes it dirty, alongside the smoke, the premium smoke you can see. And then, yeah, let's say you want to make DPM 10% better always. Make it so that I can switch between this AP and HESH at will, which is what you've been seeing me do in this replay. And then, yeah, the camo net to make it filthy camo, which is something you can use and abuse. And to those that say, yeah, camo, you don't need to focus on camo in Cold War, especially in the next replay, there's a couple of moments where you can see having that camo and getting unspotted can get you out of a bit of a tricky situation and can actually ultimately lead to you doing pretty decently with that and basically saving you at times as well. And it also just, because people tend to fixate on people getting spotted, and you're seeing that here, right? These guys are driving just in front of me at will. I do get lit there, but while I've been unspotted, they've just not been bothered. They've been focusing on and moving to counter what my guys that are spotted are doing. So while I'm unspotted and I'm able to just keep firing unspotted, they're not that bothered about me. They just seem to be fixating on those that are spotted, and that's where having this camo and manage to stay unspotted yourself is such a big asset in Cold War. And with tank destroyers like the Conway, like the Charioteer, and like the 4005, you can actually make your camo so damn filthy that you can stay unspotted in a lot of situations that you end up putting yourself in. And that's why I'd say camo is definitely an important skill. It depends on the tank, though, naturally. So in that first game, you saw the victory on Fisherman's Bay, 7.7k damage, 838 assistance, 2 kills, the ace tanker, 1911 base XP. A really great game for the Conway. I say that was firing what my normal setup is, firing AP and HE. And then this next game is going to be full APCR and HE. Now, I would, to be honest, I would stick with the full APCR just for that shell velocity. It's absolutely beautiful, and you're going to see that firing at range in this game. But I do feel dirty. I don't know what it is about firing full gold, but I do feel dirty firing it, unless I'm in something that's in, like, Era 2, in which I'm still making 150 to 200k firing it anyway. Say, like, in the 4AD, which is... I mean, most of the tanks in Era 2, I don't fire full gold anyway. You don't need to. The pen is good enough on the standard rounds, and a lot of them have heat as premium, and you never fire the heat. But like the 4AD, where the heat is standard and the APCR is premium, fire full gold, because that's how I want to be effective, and it's too frustrating bouncing shots that heat just gets absorbed, and really frustrating as well, to be fair. But you can still make an absolute profit, whereas in Era 1, you can still make a good profit firing full gold, but you don't make that much at all, as opposed to Era 2. So it's something that I'd always recommend to try and avoid doing. But generally in Era 1, anyway, 279 pen on the Conway, by the way, is one of those things that is absolutely fantastic, and you will always hit and pen everything, or most shots you'll fire in the Conway with that pen, really. So we're on the second replay, and we are on Vineyards. And you can see we've moved to this position here at A6. We got 2 juicy HESH rounds in there. We got 1, we instantly switched to HESH for that PT-76 was it? I think that's running around. This guy here. Oh, it's a Type 63i. We switched to Hesh for him. Slapped the shot straight through his side. Penned him for like 560 or something like that, which is massive pen damage. And then set him on fire. We got a shell through the lower plate of that T95E3 as well. And then we managed to shut down that Type as when he ran back in front of our gun. But that T95E3 is currently sitting and staring at me. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to basically keep my eye on that flank behind me. As you can see, I'm just keeping my eye on it to make sure that he's not sneaking up. And while these guys are all lit up and focused on the guys on the other flank, we're going to try and support the other flank as much as we possibly can from here. Because again, while they're completely concerned with what's going off in front of them, I can hopefully keep popping shots. I do get spotted there though, which is really awkward, because I was thinking, oh no, don't shoot at me 4005s, and it was that M41A1 there that actually spotted me. So I'm like, okay, you know, this 41A1 is being a pest to my friends, and this is again where the APCR velocity is delightful, because shooting at that bulldog, especially at the pace that that thing moves, is really awkward with the AP rounds, whereas with the APCR you can just snap the shots in really easily. And again, this T95E3 gets caught out in the open. We load straight to the Hesh. 220 pen Hesh through the lower plate of the T95E3 is always going to go in. Unfortunately, the second shot misses. I have no idea where it actually hit, because the muzzle flash for this tank is absolutely huge, like it is on a lot of tanks for some reason. And sometimes you just... it's one of those pet peeves of mine that is in this game, is that the muzzle flash when you fire your gun for some tanks is really not much at all. Like the 4AD hasn't really got that much of a flash at all. Whereas this tank has a massive one, so you just don't see where your shells go, unless it's at big long range like this. And even then, look, I have no idea where that shell went. I just know that it hit. It's really frustrating, and I wish that it wasn't like that in sniper mode, but hey-ho. So yeah, instead of focusing on those medium tanks at B3, again, I'm going to start trying to fire at these guys across the way. And I'm always going to keep my eye on this side. You can see I'm just with the camera aiming down, making sure I'm having a look, because I won't be concerned with those guys until they push. I know the T95E3 was unhealthy, and the other guy that was with him was also unhealthy. So I'm happy with them being where they are. I'm not too fussed at this moment in time with them being over there, because I can just do my stuff here and try and help the team on the other side. So you can see we're trying to put shots in, but it's not quite going well. And you can see it's awareness. It's the awareness that you just need. That if you know that there is tanks on that side and you decide, you know what, I'm just going to ignore them, but be wary of them. That's the way of doing it, right? And just keep your eye on it, because then the moment that they decide to crop up and shoot you, they're not just, you know, going to shoot you. You can basically keep your eye on it and catch them out before they get you. So we're just trying to keep the shots flying, and unfortunately we end up missing the shot on the 4005. We ended up missing the shot on the other guy as well, and now these guys have come for me. Fortunately, we bounced a shot from the E3, and it's like, hello E2, and oh, they're all one-shots from me. This is exactly the scenario I want. The M46A1 is firing heat, which means firing at my side. The space armor just absorbs the shell, which is always going to happen firing heat, which is why I just hate that round in general. I'm not a fan of heat rounds. I just don't like firing them, because I always feel like I'm going to shoot at someone and the shot's just going to go, yeah, I could have penned, but I don't feel like it. And it's just, yeah, my thing gets heat. But right now, we're going to get rid of this E2, because these are the only 3 tanks that I think are actually on my flank. So we're actually playing Ring Around the Roses. I was thinking, has he gone? And then it's like, no, we are playing Ring Around the Roses of this rock. I'm not playing that game. Good night, Mr. T95E2. I gave up on that game instantly. I was like, nah, we're not going to keep chasing each other and playing kissy, kissy, chasey, chasey around this rock. That's not happening. We get rid of that guy. Now the M46A1 that I actually thought was coming for me is on the run. We actually slap a Hesh round through the back of his tank there for 548. I feel like I didn't intend to fire Hesh here, because the way I actually aimed that shell was me... I aimed for the back end, right, to try and track him, which wouldn't have been a pen. So I'm not sure... I'm not sure I realised I'm firing Hesh here. But now I've decided, right, that position I was in is not going to work. It's just not, because from that position I was in there at C3, I can't support the medium I'm with that effectively, or the medium tank that's left with me, and also it's very, very open, and if they decide to attack it from the other side, they're going to kill me, and they're 4005s. There's 2 4005s on the enemy team here. While we've just seen one get spotted and he's not very healthy, we don't know where the other one is, and he might be healthy. This 773 comes in. I'm thinking, right, okay, I'm not going to kill him in one shot with the APE. So I'm going to load Hesh and try and one-shot him with the Hesh. And if I don't pen, then it's still 2 shots anyway, which is exactly what happens. We get to shut down with the second shot. And like I said, that was my thought process there, was I either one-shot him with the Hesh, or I don't pen him and I still have to fire and get the second shot in anyway. I was never going to kill him with one shot with that AP unless I high rolled. So that's just the decision we took. But we shut down the 773. We get a Hesh round through the M46, or was it the Charioteer? The Conway, sorry. We then try and get a shot at the 4005, and that's where the gun, we weren't most well aimed, but that's where the gun just let me down a little bit, because we had the shot there at that 4005. We had the chance to kill him, and unfortunately it just didn't go in. But that one does, and we shut down the 4005. We popped smoke to our right a minute ago, by the way, because we did shoot that 4005, but he started to look in my direction, and I was not having any of that. So we popped the smoke to make sure that we could shut down this 4005, stay safe after we made the other 4005 a one-shot, and now we're on the way. Here is the Conway, and it's like, okay, well, we know that the 4005 is dead. We know where the other 4005 is across the way. There's me, who is a one-shot to the 4005, and this Object 165, which is actually healthy enough to take a shot from him. And this guy is just going in on this Conway, so it's like, okay, we're going to help you out. But I do have to be careful, because if that 4005 decides to tank me, it's not going to be a good time. We're nearly loaded. He takes a hit from the 4005, and unfortunately, a shell just on the move misses on their Conway. He shuts down our 165. That cost him his health, but we managed to get the shot in to shut down the Conway, and this is where the camo really helps. This 4005 is tracking us, and then we get unspotted, and you can see he loses us. He goes, wait a minute, where's he gone? And we managed to shut him down. That slight moment of him completely losing us there gave us the chance to get the aim shot in and finish him off, and finish the game with 8 kills, 9,000 damage, bit blocked, ace tanker, the 2.3k base XP, nearly 2.4k base XP. A really great game for the Era 1 Conway. Like I say, it's an absolutely solid tank destroyer in Era 1. I just feel disappointed in it just because the Charioteer is so fun. And this, with its big frame and worse shell velocity, etc., etc., it feels like a bit of a disappointment to me compared to the Charioteer. But it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.